Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. You know, it's late spring and, you know, we've had some nice hot days, but, here in Pennsylvania lately in May we had a lot of rainy days, cloudy days, and so now these warm weather crops are just loving all this heat. But today is question and answer day, and so I thought I would answer a good question from a subscriber named Anthony. He says, when planting tomatoes and peppers, what spacing between plants is ideal? And so that's a great question. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. You may have noticed I changed scenery here. Well, anyhow, my camera's out there in the hot sun, and the camera sensors want to shut the camera down because it gets too hot. So I moved over here in the shade. But anyhow, here in my garden, I have an 18-foot by 30-foot raised bed where I plant my tomatoes and peppers in. I plant them in a 6mm polyethylene plastic, that suppresses the weeds and holds the soil moisture in and warms the soil up early in the season. But anyhow, inside that plastic or that area there, I grow my peppers 24 inches apart, and then the rows are 30 inches apart. And then the tomatoes right now are 30 inches apart, and my rows are 30 inches apart. Now, a couple years ago when I had my old plastic in, I just switched over my plastic last year, but before I used to have my tomato plants spaced 24 inches apart, and that was just too close. You want your plants to be able to breathe, you want air to circulate around them. It all depends on how large and healthy your plants get, Maybe 24 inches apart ends up fine for some people if their plants don't get that large, but I ended up having to space mine 30 inches apart, and then the rows 30 inches apart, and they seem to be fine. And also, having them spaced that way, you can also, come harvest time, you can walk in between your plants some too. You don't want them too tight where you then can't walk across the rows. So harvest time, that's also helpful. But my plants just thrive with that spacing and in the black plastic, and they also get a good 8 hours of sunlight. I always say the more the better. With your greens, you can get away with 4 to 6 hours of sunlight, but anything that bears a fruit like a tomato or pepper or melon, cucumber, they like a good 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. The more the better. Well, anyhow, I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. And you can also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. And there you can learn more about gardening and also how you can reclaim your health by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Well, anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.